Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name's Tom, and you are watching Cortex Zero. Back in late December of last year, when mysterious drone incursions dominated every news cycle, I felt compelled to investigate for myself. Everyone was churning out theories, but no one had taken the data and mapped it all out. For those who don't know, I am a lifelong resident of southern New Jersey, and within a few weeks, reports painted our region as the de facto epicenter of this entire mystery. On December 27th, 2024, I made the following post on X. I came to the realization these weren't just drones buzzing over missile silos or naval vessels. The pattern traced cold industrial places, like reservoirs in New Jersey, rural substations in Maryland, and silent compute hubs in the desert. And when you overlay the maps, you see a pattern so precise it almost seems predictive. This doesn't look random. It looks like surveillance aimed squarely at the digital command centers of our era. By 2020, the story began with military bases. Wright-Patterson, Hill, Edwards, Ramstein. But by the end of 2024, the real story had shifted. Drones were approaching places where artificial intelligence is born. Lawrence Livermore, Nevada's national security site, the Fort Worth Dallas data corridor, and Virginia's data center alley all began attracting drone activity. In the UK, incursions edged closer and closer to AI facilities near Portsdown Hill and Manchester. Locally, something as seemingly innocuous as the Raritan River and Round Valley Reservoir turned out to overlay defense-linked compute hubs, Aegis R&D, Naval Station Earl, and clustered data facilities. These are not incidental. Each is tied to the utilization of some of the most advanced artificial intelligence that is known publicly, along with battlefield telemetry and even secret data aggregation. And among these locations, 4 stand out as core nexuses for the development of machine intelligence itself. First, there's Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California. Once best known for nuclear stewardship, LLNL is now a cornerstone of U.S. AI research. Their AI innovation incubator, known as AI3, is engineering powerful collaborations across materials science, physics, fusion energy, and climate modeling using advanced machine learning. The lab houses El Capitan, which happens to be the most powerful known supercomputer on the planet at over 1.7 exaflops, used to simulate nuclear systems and run massive-scale AI training. In 2025, they expanded internal access to Claude for Enterprise from Anthropic, empowering over 10,000 scientists and analysts to build and interact with AI models across national security and scientific domains. What's being done there isn't just advanced, it's foundational. Then there's the ever-familiar Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. It hosts the Air Force Research Laboratory, or AFRL, the central nervous system of military AI research. AFRL has already field-tested autonomous agents flying in real-world scenarios in the XQ-58A Valkyrie. A new visualization lab dubbed AIMER-2C was launched to accelerate model development across command and control, logistics, and tactical autonomy. Wright-Pat also hosted the 2025 Data Analytics and AI Forum, bringing together leaders to strategize the development of 1,000 autonomous aircraft by the end of the decade. Even beyond the lab, the 711th Human Performance Wing is exploring AI-driven wearable technologies that monitor fatigue and cognition in pilots, essential building blocks of seamless human-machine integration. Just across the desert, at Nellis Air Force Base, you'll find the Shadow Operations Center Nellis, or SHOC-N. This is where live AI battlefield simulations run in real time. Their most recent AI experiment fused automated command and control systems into a near instantaneous kill chain, simulated, visualized, and executed in parallel with real-world units. These experiments are proving how future conflicts might unfold, where speed, autonomy, and system of systems thinking will define superiority. Supporting all of this is the broader intelligence and educational network anchored near Wright-Pat, in particular the Air Force Institute of Technology, or AFIT, and the Advanced Technical Intelligence Center, or ATIC. These institutions feed talent and research directly into national AI operations, specializing in autonomy, cyber espionage defense, and advanced analytics. They form a quiet but critical part of this AI arms race, and they sit directly beneath the air corridors where many of these mystery drones have appeared. At this point, I believe this is far more than theory. In February 2025, NORAD and NORTHCOM Commander General Gregory Guillot testified that there were over 350 drone incursions at more than 100 military facilities in 2024 alone, describing them as detection and perhaps surveillance of sensitive capabilities. These drones are not buzzing parks. They're gathering intelligence on what powers AI, from compute capacity to connectivity and all the rest. Let's be clear on why this matters. Data centers aren't warehouses of old. They are the war rooms of AI running real-time simulations, autonomous systems, and models that can plan, create, and decide. To touch these sites is to touch the infrastructure of tomorrow's warfare, and not just state secrets, but the model architectures themselves. Defense and cloud operators now openly warn of drones executing long loiters, signal sniffing, and even airborne payload attacks, pointing to a surge in drone espionage that targets AI infrastructure. The historical parallel here is stark. In the Cold War, unknown aircraft hovered near missile silos and nuclear plants like Malmstrom, Minot, and Vandenberg. Then, the greatest threat was potential destruction. Today, the infrastructure under scrutiny is more subtle, but far more insidious. If nukes shaped deterrence, AI shapes influence. We're looking down an invisible sight line into the machines that will define the century. We have specific incidents building this case. In December 2023, drones hovered over Langley Air Force Base for 17 nights, enough to ground F-22 Raptors while the base reevaluated security measures. In California, Plant 42, part aerospace development, part data node, triggered FAA restrictions following drone incursions. The FAA's recent tests off Cape May were not a coincidence. They reflect mounting concern over drone activity near tech-dense corridors. A former FAA and Pentagon official has already confirmed suspicions that some of this activity is foreign in nature, state-run, proxy-operated, or potentially something different. Lawmakers called for the deployment of advanced drone tracking systems like Robin amid concerns that many launches remain untraceable and thus undetected until it is far too late. But that's only one layer of this story. A significant portion of eyewitnesses, civilian, military, and intelligence alike, have insisted that what they saw were not drones. Not in any conventional sense, at least. Many describe hovering spheres of light that behaved in ways no known drone could. Others watched as those orbs changed shape, shifting into cubes, triangles, even fully three-dimensional structures that appear to fold or bloom midair. Some described light emanating from inside of these structures, not merely reflecting external sources. Others swore they heard no sound at all, not even a hum. One of the more chilling consistencies reported by observers is the way these objects respond to attention, as if aware they're being watched. In some cases, witnesses reported that these orbs pulsed, flared, or abruptly changed trajectory once they were noticed. And in one case from early January of 2025, near a secure facility in Maryland, a group of eyewitnesses, including a former contractor, watched a single orb split into three distinct glowing objects, which then maintained an equilateral triangle formation before vanishing silently. If we are dealing with a single coordinated campaign of surveillance, be it from a rival nation or a black budget operation, we would expect to see a unified behavior profile, typically. Instead, the data reveals something much more fractured. Some of these objects behave like drones. Others, many others, do not. Some follow structured flight paths, while others perform instantaneous accelerations and even right-angle maneuvers that do not correlate with anything in our inventory or the inventory of any other nation. Some appear to scan infrastructure with precision, others hover aimlessly as if observing us observing them. This diversity of behavior has led many analysts to propose that these incursions are not all from the same source, that what we're witnessing may be multiple intelligences at play, multiple intentions, and not all of them human. And if that's the case, the most sobering question isn't who are they, but why here? Why would non-human craft be interested in data centers? One theory that I've come up with on my own, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who has come to this conclusion, is that artificial intelligence represents a new threshold, one that non-human intelligence would naturally monitor. If AI is, in a sense, our first attempt at creating something that could think beyond us, then it makes total sense that another intelligence, one that has been watching us across decades, would begin clustering around the places where that threshold is being approached. Maybe what we call UFOs are not merely surveilling us. They're observing the birth of something. A new mind, a synthetic intelligence, a rival, or maybe a counterpart. And that raises an even deeper possibility. What if some of these incursions are not monitoring our AI, but communing with it, testing for compatibility, searching for resonance between themselves and the machines we're building. Machines that, in time, may become sophisticated enough to understand what we can't. What if these phenomena are not here to disrupt, but to initiate? At the heart of all of this may not be a contest for military edge. It may be something far more abstract and far more significant. Not control, not conquest, but curiosity about what we are on the verge of becoming. But there is another angle we have to consider, one that may help explain not just where these swarms are appearing, but why the pace seems to be accelerating. In 2023, a leaked thermal imaging clip allegedly captured a U.S. military drone tracking and firing a Hellfire missile at a fast-moving unidentified aerial object. While the authenticity of the footage has been debated, and that debate is ongoing, high-level defense insiders, some speaking off the record, have hinted that it reflects a real engagement. Not just a close encounter, not just surveillance, but a military attempt to destroy an anomalous object in flight. If this footage is authentic, and the description of what is happening in the footage is accurate, then that raises a very serious question. What happens when we shoot first? Because if these objects are non-human in origin, or if even a small percentage of them are, then kinetic action may represent a significant narrative shift. We are no longer observers. We are no longer the curious species trying to catch a glimpse of the unknown. We've become something more dangerous. We've crossed the threshold into confrontation, and that may be triggering a response. Think about it. If intelligence of unknown origin is operating above our skies, in our restricted airspace, surveilling our weapons, platforms, and command centers, and if even one of those objects was fired upon, then what we're seeing now may not be standard surveillance. It may be a reconnaissance counter-campaign, a way to map not only our assets, but our intent, to measure threat escalation, to test the boundaries of restraint, and to identify which nodes of our infrastructure are most likely to push back. It may also explain the shift from isolated incursions to organized drone swarms. Because swarm behavior, especially if directed by a collective intelligence or adversarial AI, implies real-time feedback. It implies observation, learning, and adaptation. If we've initiated hostilities, even in isolated cases, then we should expect the system to respond, and perhaps it already has. This leads us to a troubling possibility. We may have triggered something, not through diplomacy or communication, but through engagement. Engagement that the people of this planet never even had a say in. We never had any input. What started as an observational relationship may now be sliding towards tension, and most of the world isn't even aware of it. These aren't just blips on radar anymore. They're patterns. Patterns that, taken seriously, suggest something far more complex is watching us. And now, possibly, watching how we watch back. And so we return to the question: what is flying over our data centers? What is hovering above the neural engines of the next century, watching and waiting? Because whatever it is, it sees what we're building, and it's interested. Thank you for watching the video, everybody. I really appreciate it. Please leave a like, share this if you can, and if you have any feedback, you can leave it down in the comments section. I try to read everything that everybody leaves on my videos, and of course, if you'd like to help support the channel, that information will be found in the description. I hope you have a great rest of your day or evening, wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Take care.